All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone today to the Insight webinar where we will be talking about some new navigational things to talk about within Viewer 6 version 6.8. So what are the new navigation area? What does that do for us? So we're going to review what the new navigation area is and where is it within your views. We're going to talk about, the model they chose to present this to the user. It's something along the lines of a breadcrumb model. We're going to talk about how to manipulate it and how to add more to it and how we can disable it if we don't care to see it. And other navigational tips we'll discuss as well. We'll take any questions and then we'll also show a demonstration. So basically, within the new version of Viewer, there's actually a new area on the top of the view that will allow you to basically see what your drill down path is and will kind of guide you down that path, or at least show you what the path is, and then also will keep track of your progress as you drill through the different dimensions that you have within your view. Hence the breadcrumb model, as we all remember the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale, where they put down breadcrumbs to find their way back, and that's basically the concept here. So it's basically keeping track of where you've been, and obviously shows you that, and provides a much easier way to get back. Okay. And it kind of shows you exactly where you are currently. So it's a great roadmap in terms of where you are and within the drill down. Your view might have a lot of dimensions, and this will really kind of provide a better way to look and see where you're at. Very similar to Planner, if you've ever used the Planner interface. It's kind of the same concept of what's within the header area for the Planner interface. And of course, you're able to manipulate this. You can move things around, reorder some things. You can remove things, and you can also add in more right on the fly within that area. So it's kind of cool in terms of what you can do with it. Notice how it also displays rows and columns. So if I had any dimensions on my columns, obviously it would show that too, and what the drill down progress would be within the dimensions of my columns. So basically, it's a much more efficient way of showing your current drill down position without you having to open up the View Explorer. So the breadcrumb model, as we see, kind of keeps track of where we are currently. As you can see within the blue font, kind of tells us, anything highlighted in blue would tell us what's currently displayed on the data grid. So if we see the image below there, we can see that the customer sold to level is highlighted in blue, and so within the navigational area there, telling us that basically that is the dimension that is currently shown within the data grid. Product class, product family, and product are the dimensions that are available to drill to next, and that would be the order of the drill down. So if I were to click in on a specific customer, rest assured it would then take me to product class. So this is your breadcrumb model. This is what shows you where you've been and where you can go, but basically kind of shows you the way back and how to get back. So how do we manipulate the navigational area? Well, as you can see, within each dimension or hierarchy, depending on what you call it, there is a little button there to the left of the dimension. As you can see, it's a series of dots, if you will. And what that does, as you can see, it's highlighted in red. That allows you to grab the dimension. So that's where you're going to put your cursor in order to click in on it and then to drag and drop wherever it is that you want to put it. So for instance, if I wanted to take product family and put it before product class, then I would click in on that, on the series of those dots there, and then grab and drag and drop that product family to where I want to then release it and drop it down. So in essence, changing my drill down path, changing the order of the drill down path. I can also remove, of course, a dimension, and that's certainly what the X is available for. So if I was clicking in on the X, it would then remove the product family from my navigational area. Also removes the dimension from the view altogether. So, that's something that's not necessarily hidden. It's only going to show you, obviously what's not hidden. And as you can see, if I release or delete that dimension from my navigational area, it then becomes unavailable, essentially, from the view at that point. You can always add it back, of course, but this removes the dimension completely from the view. And then if I want to add in more dimensions, as you can see, there's a little plus sign. So when I click on the plus sign there, which is all the way to the right of my existing dimensions, and as you can see in the columns, I don't have any dimensions. So obviously I can click on there and add in some dimensions there in my columns as well. So what do I get when I click on that plus sign? I'll get a list of all the dimensions in alphabetical order. So that pops up, and then I'm able to go in and select either one or multiple dimensions here. Okay. Once I make my selections here, then I would just go ahead and click OK, and it would then show me all the different, the dimensions that I added within my navigational area. One thing to remember here is that when I add in new dimensions, they get added in basically as alphabetical order. So in this case, customer sold to would always remain there because it's blue. The fact that it's blue and it's available within the data grid. So it's not, whenever I add new dimensions to my navigational area, it's not ever going to disturb the dimensions that I currently have visible within my data grid. So it's always going to add them after those dimensions. Okay. But when it adds them in after those dimensions, it then adds them in alphabetically. Okay. So that's kind of what happens. So you might have several dimensions you're already drilled in on, and then obviously when you add the newer dimensions, they'll just get added in, appended into the end of the list, and in alphabetical order. So how do we turn it off? So if I ever want to just disable it, maybe I don't care, maybe I want the real estate back on my screen for the data grid, whatever the reason might be, you can always turn off the navigational pane. So in the upper right-hand corner where my help rotary is, I would just click on the rotary there and select user options, which is the top option on the menu. That then pops up my user options menu, and as you can see in the general section where it's highlighted in red, that's my show navigational panel button. So that's where I'm going to click in on that button and be able to either disable or enable my navigational panel. So it's pretty easy to obviously just remove it or bring it back. So whatever the case might be there in terms of what you want to do. So that's kind of it on the navigational area. So, it's not anything too crazy, but certainly something I think makes your experience better. There's also other navigational things that you can do that might make the product just work better. And so this concept of drilling to another view is always a great concept of navigation. Maybe you have one view that you want to start the user out with, and then you want them to drill to something else, to a completely different view that might present more detail, might tell more of the business story that you're trying to relay to them. Okay, so drilling to a view, and this concept's been around for a while. It's not necessarily new to version 6.8. But being able to drill to a view, again, is a very powerful way to navigate the user and to provide a guiding, more of a guided analysis type of story to the user. And you can set that up within the View Explorer. As you can see, if I go to my properties on either my rows or my columns, I can actually select the actual view that I want them to drill to next once they exhaust the existing drill downs within the original view. here we can see kind of an example of that, where I have an original view that shows me all my customers and the sales for these customers, etc. And then I click in on any one of these rows here, these cells, and it will then know which customer I clicked in on. As you can see, Wilder Foods here, I clicked, we can pretend that I clicked in on Wilder Foods Western. And so by clicking in on that 41 mil number there, 41 million, it's then going to drill me to another view. So the original view might be time range oriented, as you can see. And so now I can click on that view, and it will then take me to another view that shows time as a trend. So this is a great way to kind of take a view, a user from one view that might have time lumped in one column, and then by one click, they can actually see how time is spread across the months in more of a trend-like view. So that's very, very powerful. I think that's something that you definitely should look into using and helping them navigate to a view that would then give them more of a trend style view of the data, so that they can see the trending of the data throughout the months or the days or the weeks. However you want to present that is up to you. But I really do think that this is a very powerful way of guiding the user through the analysis and giving them a better way to navigate through these different views. So very powerful, drill to view. Another thing that's available is the ability to define a hyperlink. And you can actually then navigate users to other web pages, to another view. So that concept is still available, obviously, by providing the hyperlink to the view itself, to a completely different other application. Maybe you want to hyperlink them to a customer relationship management app, or anything else for that matter, some ERP screens, whatever it is that you might think would make sense to navigate the user to. Anything that basically has a URL, actually, you're able to incorporate into this hyperlink situation and then navigate them to wherever it is that you want to take them. You can also pass the item or customer numbers as parameters. So there's always this concept of not only navigating them somewhere, but being able to pass the customer number so that whenever you do navigate them to, would actually have that available to then filter on whatever data that you're presenting to them. So a bit more advanced, but definitely something available where you can really kind of customize viewer and navigate your users to other areas outside of viewer. Okay, images are kind of the same way. You can set up images within viewer, and then you can also apply a hyperlink to the image, so that when they click in on the image, it would then maybe take them to another view. Again, presenting more data or whatever your intent is for that. So there's the same concept of using images as basically as a navigational concept as well. So. Okay, so let's take a look at a quick demo, and then I'll open up the lines for some questions. Okay, so basically here is the latest version, and we're already within the view, so we can already see the navigational area that's available on top of my screen here. So here it is. It's just above the view filter, so I have absolutely nothing in my view filter right now. And my navigational area says that I only have two dimensions within this view, my customer sold to and my product. So the first thing I might want to do is maybe add more dimensions. So all I have to do that is then to click on my add level, and also notice that as you hover over these icons, it will then show you a tooltip of what that particular icon is going to do for you. As you can see, it says add levels to rows, which is what I want to do. So I go ahead and click on that, and then it presents the hierarchy menu, where I can then go in and select, whatever dimensions that I want to make available. So maybe I want division, maybe I want more product related, maybe product family, product brand. Okay, so I've selected three dimensions that I want to add in: division, product brand, and product family. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And it's going to bring these dimensions in. As you can see, it brings them in a alphabetical fashion. Division, obviously, starts with a D, so that's obviously going to be your first dimension that, or the first new dimension that gets added in. Okay. I can also maybe add in that one that starts with an A, so just kind of show you what it's going to do. So maybe I'll click on ABC classification as well. Where do you think that's going to go? Right before division, because it starts with an A. Now, why didn't it go before customer sold to? Well, that's because customer sold to is already visible within my data grid. So like I said, it's not going to interfere with what's already visible. So obviously, ABC comes before customer sold to, but given the fact that customer sold to was already displayed within my data grid, it kept that there and then added in my new dimensions after the visible dimension. So that's how that's going to work, right? If I want to get rid of, for instance, maybe I don't want ABC code, I just go ahead and click on the X, and it then removes the dimension from my navigational screen. So again, adding, notice how the plus sign then is always at the end of my navigational string here. And then if I just, again, click on the plus sign, it then brings that up, the Add Hierarchies menu up. So pretty simple. Another thing, make sure you scroll all the way down. This is up to 90 dimensions. I don't know if you're using more than 90. Many people probably do not. So, but that, allows you to scroll through that and, get access to all their dimensions. Okay. So let's move some of these around. Maybe I want product family before my product brand. So how do I do that? So basically, like I said, you're going to grab. Notice how the cursor changes when I hover over the dimension. And my tooltip says I can use drag and drop to move this level to a new location in the view. So I'm gonna click in on it, and as you can see, I now have it. So I can drag and drop that around. Woo-hoo! Lots of fun. But notice that I get a do not drop sign wherever I cannot drop it. So, but I want it before product brand. So I'm gonna put it right before my. Notice how there's a little line there presents itself there, and if I just release it, it then puts product family then before my product brand. So again, I can just do that with product brand. If I just drop it there, maybe if I want product family before division, well, I would just come all the way over here and then release it before my division. So moving these around, is pretty simple to do. As a matter of fact, I can probably move customer sold to, around as well. So by moving customer sold to, as you can see, it then presented product family as my beginning dimension, which then turned to blue because it has to obviously show something here. So it then shows my product family. Let's drill down. So now we drill down and we've got product family to division. Okay, so now both of these are highlighted in blue, right? So if I add another dimension here to my view here, we'll just add in ABC classification back in again. It then, again, does not disturb my current drill down path. It's going to add it in after that. So again, illustrating that your current drill down path that's visible on the data grid will not be disturbed. Okay. So that's it's basically pretty easy to kind of manipulate these things within the navigational area. My columns, maybe if I want to add in another one here for my columns. So this might be a better place for division, in all honesty. I can put in company there too. Something smaller, you don't want it to be too big here because it's going across the screen, of course. This is more of a cross-tabular. Here I just added in ABC classification. So we can see that pretty much all the sales here are A classified. So that's available now within my drill down. Notice another thing, when I select product family 30, notice that is what I drilled down on. It even shows you what value you selected. So it's another tip, if you will, of where you've been and what you selected to drill down on. Under ABC and then division, it says all. So it says basically it's just showing all my divisions. So that's very convenient, I think, in terms of what you can do with that. it really kind of tells you exactly what you drill down on. So how do we turn that off? Well, like I said before, you'd go to your rotary here to my upper right-hand corner. I can come up to my help rotary, right? And if I select my user options, it's going to then, my user option menu then pops up. And here, as you can see under the general area, I can then deselect my show navigational pane. So when I do that, it doesn't remove it currently from the view that I'm in yet, but anything that I run after that, we'll just run the same one, sales comparison. So now I run the view, and now as you can see, the navigational area is gone. So now I don't have that visibility, and that may be something, maybe that's what I want. Okay, so now you've got more area here for the data grid, so if that's something that you don't care to see, you can always get rid of it under the help rotary, under user options, okay? And obviously to bring it right back, you can always click in on it and bring it back as needed. Again, you're going to need to rerun the view so that you can see that it indeed comes back. All right, so I didn't save any of that, so none of it was saved, but if you were to obviously save this as you add more to the navigational area, that obviously then all gets saved to your view. So, and we talked a little bit about the drill down view, and so basically, there's different examples here. Let's see. Well, I can pretty much set that up anywhere, in essence. So I have, where would I set up my drill down view if I wanted to navigate them to another view here, maybe something a little bit more time oriented. Well, if you open up your View Explorer, it allows you then to define by row or column or by measure, for instance, what your drill down view is going to be. So if I go to my rows and I right-click on properties here, I can see that my drill down view menu is right there on top. And then I can just pull that down, and as you can see, I can select any view that I have access to, right? So maybe I want to see something more trended. And I can select one of these views here. Okay, so that's going to be my next level down. My next view that I'll drill to next is trended sales performance analysis. Right now, the view that I'm in right now is time range, so it's not really giving me a trend. It's just lumping all my months into the columns and showing me what my year-to-date amounts are. So how does this work? How do I get to the next view? Well, if I have product here as well, so if I want to drill from customer to product, so I'll drill from Wilder Foods here, and I'll drill to product. And so here are all my products, and maybe I'll sort this in descending fashion so I get my top items here on top. Well, my drill down here is exhausted. There's really no other level to go to. But look at my navigational pane. My navigational pane is actually telling me that my next drill down is the view. So that's kind of cool. It actually shows you what you drilled in on and then where you're going to go next. And it's actually showing me the name of the view. So if I drill in, for instance, here on peach, my peach product, it's then going to navigate me to that view. And it's then going to filter the view on those items on that customer sold to that I clicked in on. So here's my Wilder Foods. This should be a peach product, and indeed it is. And now I can see a trending of the data that's tied to that customer and product. And wow, look at that. Look at all the data that's available to me. So my original view was very simple. This year, last year's sales, a variance amount, units and dollars. But, by easing them into the data and then by taking them from product to where they've already drilled in on a customer and a product, and then just giving them, just throwing tons of data at them. Once they drill down, you can then kind of bombard them with more data, more detail as needed. And that's kind of what we did here. The concept here is that, I took them from one view that was basically more, simple, more of a simple type of analysis, and boom, you take them right into another view where it just presents even more data. And in this case, it also presents a trended view of the data, so I can actually see how the data is actually trended out. So drill to view, hyperlinks, other great ways to navigate the user to other areas of viewer and to other views. So